There's a number that most people never stop to calculate. It's not the price tag at the dealership, nor the monthly automatic payment. It's the real number, the one that takes into account every fill-up, every oil change, every part replaced at the mechanic, every insurance premium adjusted without notice. And when that number finally appears in front of someone over 55, the reaction is usually the same: disbelief. For the average American over 55, that number reaches $93,000 over 10 years. That's not the cost of buying the car. It's the cost of keeping it running. Fuel, regular maintenance, brakes, filters, belts, shock absorbers, and that endless list of repairs that appear just when the warranty expires. Each item alone seems small. Added together, they form a silent mountain that builds up unnoticed over the years. What makes this situation even more burdensome is the stage of life in which it occurs. When someone is in their 60s or 70s, living on a fixed income, retirement, or pension, a $3,200 bill at a repair shop isn't just an inconvenience. It's 2 weeks' worth of food. It's the month's medicine. It's a decision that will affect the budget in a way that a younger person simply doesn't feel the same way. At this stage of life, a gasoline-powered car ceases to be just transportation and becomes a constant source of financial pressure. And the worst part is that this cycle has no natural end. A combustion engine has more than 2,000 moving parts. Each one is a potential point of failure. Each one represents a possible visit to the repair shop, a possible surprise at the end of the month. Dealerships make almost half of their profit in service centers, not in sales. Refineries need the driver to return to the gas station every week. The entire system was built around the continuity of this expense, not its reduction. When it comes to electric cars, the battery is always the first point of distrust. And this distrust didn't arise from nowhere. People have seen cell phone batteries swell after 2 years of use. They've read stories of electric car owners facing $12,000 bills to replace the battery pack. So, when someone says the Model 2 battery will last more than a decade, the natural reaction is to cross your arms and demand proof. And that's exactly what the engineering data is starting to show. The chemistry chosen for the Model 2 is called LFP, lithium iron phosphate. This name may seem too technical at first glance, but what it represents in practice is quite straightforward. A chemically more stable cell, less prone to overheating and, most importantly, capable of being charged to 100% every night without compromising its lifespan. This last point is what changes everything. In conventional lithium-ion batteries, used in most electric vehicles on the road today, repeatedly charging to maximum capacity accelerates cell degradation. With LFP, this problem simply doesn't exist in the same way. This is already working in practice. Tesla uses this same chemistry in vehicles that circulate in other markets, and the documented results confirm what the engineers designed on paper. It's not a blind technological gamble. It's an application of something that has already been tested on a real scale, now adapted to a model specifically designed for the American market, with all the particularities of use that this audience demands, including older drivers who want simplicity and predictability above all else. The company's internal projections, based on LFP battery charge cycles, indicate between 3,000 and 5,000 full charges before any noticeable loss of capacity for the driver. Doing a simple calculation, 1 charge per day, every day, puts that number between 8 and 13 years of daily use. And even if something goes wrong outside of that period, the estimated cost of replacing the LFP pack is between $3,200 and $4,000, well below the $5,500 to $7,000 that a gasoline-powered engine and transmission replacement typically costs. The structural battery is just one part of a much larger shift in how the Model 2 is being built. To understand what Tesla is doing with the manufacturing of this car, you first need to think about How any modern vehicle is assembled today. A conventional chassis is made up of dozens, sometimes hundreds, of smaller metal parts, stamped separately and then joined by thousands of weld points. It's a process that has worked for decades, but it carries with it a structural problem that no automaker has been able to completely solve. Each weld point is a point of weakness. Tesla calls its new manufacturing approach Unboxed, and the concept is exactly what the name suggests. Instead of assembling the vehicle by piecing together small parts, large sections of the chassis are cast as a single solid piece of aluminum, produced in seconds by presses weighing up to 9,000 tons. The rear floor, for example, which in conventional manufacturing would require between 70 and 90 separate metal components, joined by thousands of welds, now exists as a single continuous piece. There are no seams. There are no joints. There are no points where the metal was repeatedly heated, deformed, and cooled during assembly. This matters far more than it first appears. Welding points are precisely where rust begins to set in after years of exposure to moisture and temperature variations. They are where noises and creaks appear after 80,000 or 100,000 kilometers of use. They are where structural fatigue in the chassis begins to manifest silently, compromising the vehicle's rigidity in a way that the driver only notices when the doors stop closing precisely or when the windows cease to seal completely. A cast part eliminates virtually all of these points at once. The torsional rigidity designed for the Model 2 chassis is between 45,000 and 50,000 Newton-meters, which measures how well the vehicle's frame resists torsion. For a concrete reference, this number is approximately double that found in a recently produced Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla. In practice, this means doors that continue to open and close precisely after 150,000 kilometers. Windows that maintain their seal into their 15th year of use. A car that doesn't develop that feeling of structural looseness that makes older vehicles seem tired much sooner than expected. The cast aluminum part that makes the Model 2 so robust for everyday use is precisely the same part that presents a real limitation in specific situations. And this limitation needs to be clearly understood, without exaggeration, but also without being swept under the rug. When a conventional chassis is damaged in a high-speed collision, the body shop mechanic can cut out the damaged section, weld a new part in its place, and return the vehicle to structurally sound condition. This process has existed for decades and is what sustains a large part of the automotive repair industry worldwide. With the Model 2's cast chassis, that path simply doesn't exist. Cast aluminum loses structural integrity when cracked or significantly deformed. It's not possible to cut out a damaged section and weld a new one in its place, because the very nature of the cast part relies on material continuity to ensure the strength it was designed for. This means that in a serious collision, not a minor parking lot bump, but a real highway speed impact, the entire module needs to be replaced. And that replacement, done at a Tesla service center, can cost between $5,000 and $6,500. This cost is already being observed by insurance companies. Some of them have started adjusting Tesla vehicle insurance premiums with this architecture, with increases ranging from 8% to 14% depending on the market and the driver's profile. It's not an arbitrary punishment. It's a direct response to the average cost of claims in cases of more severe collisions. For someone who drives few kilometers per year on local roads with a clean record, this adjustment can be absorbed without major impacts on the budget. For other driver profiles, it needs to be factored into the calculation before the purchase decision. What the data shows, however, is that this risk has a rather specific profile. The probability of a collision serious enough to compromise the cast module is statistically low for drivers who travel less than 15,000 kilometers per year on urban and regional routes with a history of careful driving. This is exactly the profile of a large portion of drivers over 60 years old. who have naturally reduced their exposure to higher-risk situations in traffic. For this group, the equation still clearly leans towards the positive side of unboxed manufacturing. Most safety systems in modern cars function like an orchestra of sensors. There's the front radar, the ultrasonic sensors scattered throughout the body, the calibration systems that need to be adjusted after any bodywork repairs, and an entire electronic infrastructure that works together to monitor the environment around the vehicle. Each of these components has its own maintenance cost, a lifespan, and a chance of failure that, over time, becomes increasingly concrete. Recalibrating a radar after a bumper replacement, for example, can cost between $180 and $400 at a conventional dealership. The Model 2 completely abandons this architecture. The vehicle's safety system operates exclusively through cameras, 12 of them high-resolution, distributed around the body to offer 360-degree coverage without blind spots. There is no radar to become miscalibrated. There are no ultrasonic sensors to replace when they stop responding correctly. The reading of the environment is done entirely by computer vision, with neural networks trained from billions of kilometers of real data collected by the Tesla fleet in circulation worldwide. The system learns to recognize patterns in the same way that an experienced driver learns to anticipate situations in traffic. The results of the most recent tests of this system have begun to appear in the company's technical records. In the final update of 2025, the neural network of the assistance system recorded 0 occurrences of phantom braking. That annoying problem where the car brakes on its own for no apparent reason. Over 180,000 kilometers of documented testing in construction zones, adverse weather conditions, and heavy traffic. For a driver who has already experienced this type of erratic behavior in other assistance systems, this number represents a significant qualitative change in the driving experience. In everyday practice, the technological simplification of the system translates into something very concrete. The only maintenance this security system requires is cleaning the camera lenses when they are dirty. The same cloth used to clean glasses solves the problem. There is no visit to the service center, no electronic diagnosis, no surprise quote related to the vehicle's active security system. For those accustomed to receiving sensor failure notifications on the dashboard and discovering at the repair shop that the repair costs more than expected, this change has a value that goes beyond the technical aspects. There's a detail in the interior of modern cars that has quietly begun to bother millions of drivers, especially the more experienced ones, without anyone openly discussing it. At some point in the last decade, automakers decided that touch screens were the future and began migrating virtually all vehicle functions to digital menus. Air conditioning temperature, defroster, sound volume, safety settings, everything ended up on screens that require the driver to take their eyes off the road, navigate through submenus, and, in many cases, repeat the process every time the car is restarted, because the system simply doesn't save the user's preferences. The problem isn't aesthetic, it's physical and measurable. At 110 kilometers per hour, taking your eyes off the road for 2 seconds means traveling more than 60 meters without seeing what's ahead. A physical button, the kind your hand finds through muscle memory without needing to look, resolves this interaction in less than half a second. A touchscreen, with nested menus and small icons, can take 4, 5, 6 seconds to complete the same task. The difference between these two numbers in a real traffic situation can be the difference between reacting in time or not reacting at all. Leaked interface documents for the Model 2 point to a clear shift in philosophy in this regard. The vehicle's main controls, those the driver needs to access while in motion, revert to physical buttons. The temperature is adjusted with a button. The defroster is activated with a button. The hazard warning lights have a large, easily located button. The central screen remains in the vehicle for navigation and secondary functions, but it ceases to be the only way to access what the driver needs when they need it most. It's a decision that seems simple, but it represents a complete reversal of the trend that has dominated the sector in recent years. For older drivers, this change has particular significance, not because these people are less capable of learning digital interfaces, but because the cognitive effort of navigating menus while driving at speed accumulates over the course of a trip and arrives at the destination as fatigue. A control that responds to touch without requiring visual attention frees up that effort for where it really matters: the traffic ahead. There is a real difference between a car that the driver masters and a car that the driver needs to decipher every time they get into it, and this difference becomes much clearer after age 60 than before. The combination of a camera system that reduces external distractions and physical controls that reduce internal distractions creates a driving environment that works for the driver rather than competing with them. It's a vehicle designed to be used, not to impress in launch photos. And it's precisely this set of features that makes the conversation about the Model 2 relevant, but also requires that some very important points be clarified before anyone starts researching prices or considering a reservation. Everything presented so far about the Model 2 is technically true. Engineering documents exist, patent applications have been filed, and supply chain reports are circulating among industry analysts. But there's a fundamental distinction that needs to be made before any enthusiasm turns into a hasty financial decision. The Model 2, in the second half of 2026, is not yet available at dealerships. There are no test drive units, no confirmed official delivery date for the general public, and most importantly, no legitimate reservation channel outside of Tesla's official website. This point deserves extra attention because the pattern of scams surrounding Tesla launches is already well documented. Fake websites with an identical look to the automakers, reservation forms charging between $200 and $500 to guarantee a place in line, emails with exclusive offers, messages on social media promising special conditions for early buyers. None of these channels have any connection with the company. When the Model 2 officially opens for orders, this will happen exclusively through the official Tesla website, without intermediaries, without upfront fees charged by third parties, and without artificial urgency created by countdowns on unknown pages. The $12,549 figure widely circulating in association with the Model 2 also needs context. This figure represents Tesla's target internal production cost, not the final retail price. The retail price will take into account operating margins, logistics costs, local taxation, and the company's commercial policy for each market. The most realistic projections independent analysts are working with place the launch price somewhere between $18,000 and $28,000, depending on the version and target market. Confusing production cost with retail price is a mistake that can completely distort any financial viability calculation. For those considering the Model 2 as their next vehicle, now is the time to prepare, not to act. This means talking to your insurance company about how policies are structured for vehicles with a die-cast chassis. It means assessing whether your place of residence has the infrastructure for installing a home charger, because the experience of owning an electric vehicle changes significantly depending on where and how charging takes place.